All right, so today we're looking at solving multi-step equations in inequalities. So let's take a look. What do we got going on? So first let's talk about solving with grouping. So of course when you solve an equation you look for your order of operations. You have your grouping is your first thing that you're going to take a look at. And we do, we have parentheses. So how to solve this is we would do our distributive property first. 3 times d, 3 times 2. That would give me 3d plus 6 equals 12. Since this is plus 6, the opposite operation is subtraction, so I subtract 6 from both sides, and I get 3d equals 6. I then would have to divide both sides by 3, and that gives me d equals 2. Now to check this, I would take 2 everywhere there's a d and plug it in. So I would have 3 times d plus 2. Well, that would make much sense, would it? I would have 2 plus 2 should equal 12. Well, 3 times 4, which is 12, and 12 equals 12, so it checks. Okay? All right. So let's look at this inequality. We have the same issue. We have parentheses, so we would have to distribute first. 4 times x would be 4x. 4 times negative 3 would be negative 12. So 4x minus 12 is greater than 6. This is subtraction, so we're going to add 12 to both sides. And that would give me negative 12 plus 12 is 0, so just leave me with 4x. And 6 plus 12 is 18, so 4x is greater than 18. 4x is multiplication, so I have to divide both sides by 4. And 4 divided by 4 is 1, or just x. And 18 divided by 4 is 4.5, so x is greater than 4.5, okay? And again, if I wanted to check that, I just pick a number larger than 4.5, so we could use 5. 4 times 5 minus 3 should be greater than 6. 4 times 2, which is 8, and 8 indeed is greater than 6, okay? All right, so let's look at this example. We have 2 times 6m minus 1 equals 8m. Again, first thing we have to do is to distribute. Outside term times the inside terms. So 2 times 6m would be 12m, and 2 times negative 1 would be negative 2. And then, since this is subtraction, I would have, no, jumped ahead of myself. So what I would want to do in this case would be, I could go either way, doesn't matter. I could subtract 12m from both sides, or I could subtract 8m from both sides. Let's go ahead and subtract 8m from both sides. So 12 minus 8 is 4m minus 2. 8m minus 8m would be 0. So then I add 2, and I get 4m equals 2. I then divide both sides by 4, and m equals 1/2. Okay? Now to check this, again, I'm going to put it in the original. So 2 times 6 times 1/2 minus 1 equals 8 times 1/2. Well, 2 times 6 times 1/2 is 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. And 8 times 1/2 is 4, and 4 equals 4. So it checks. M does equal 1/2. All right. So now let's look at this big multi-step equation. It looks very large. However, it just has some grouping in there that we have to solve first. So in this one, we have to do the grouping on both sides. So we have to distribute. We'd have 4 times x is 4x, 4 times 5 is 20, 3 times 2x is 6x, and 3 times 4 is 12. Now we want to put our variable on one side of the equal sign. Well, we could easily subtract 4x from both sides. 4x minus 4x is 0, so it just leaves me with 20. And 6x minus 4x is 2x. Bring down the rest of the problem, and I have 2x plus 12. Since this is addition, I would subtract 12 from both sides, and that would give me 8 equals 2x. I then divide both sides by 2, and x equals 4. Again, if I wanted to check it, I would take that 4, plug it back up into each of the x's on the original. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 times 4 is 36. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 times 3 is 36. So it checks. Okay? All right. So let's look at multi-step inequalities. We solve them very, very similar. We distribute anything that we have grouping. So 4 times a is 4a. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. We then can subtract 4a from both sides. 4a minus 4a is 0, which leaves me with negative 12. And 5a minus 4a would leave me with 1a, or just a. Since this is subtraction, we would have to add 8 to both sides. And that would give me just a is greater than or equal to negative 4. Now again, to graph this, it's an or equal to, so it would be a solid dot. And then the variable is on the left and is pointing to the right, so it's greater than, so I just draw to the right. Okay? All right, let's solve one. We have 12 minus 2x is greater than 24 plus 2x. All right, so I can subtract 2x from both sides. Bring down my 12, negative 2x minus 2x would be negative 4x is greater than 24, and 2x minus 2x is 0. So then I would subtract 12 from both sides, and that gives me negative 4x is greater than 12. Then I would divide by negative 4. And remember, when you divide by a negative, you have to flip or reverse that inequality. And so x is less than negative 3. And then to graph that, I could go negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. Put me an open circle on negative 3, and it would go to the left. Okay? Remember, multiply or divide by a negative number on both sides, same number. You have to flip or reverse the inequality. All right. So now let's talk about no solutions and all numbers as solutions. Well, if you get where you have a no solution, you represent that by, you could either represent it by that symbol, which means null. You could represent it by the two brackets with nothing in the middle. That means empty set. Or you can simply just write no solution. Also, if every number works, you could write all real numbers, or you could write identity. Okay? So let's take a look. We have this equation here. The first thing that we're going to do is we distribute. 3 times y is 3y. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. Now, when we get to this part, we see something right here. We have like terms, negative 15 and a positive 25. So negative 15 plus 25 would give me a positive 10. Now I'd want to subtract 3y from both sides to move my variables to one side. But when I do that, 3y minus 3y is 0, which leaves me 10. And 3y minus 3y is 0, which leaves me 10. So my answer is 10 equals 10. Well, 10 equals 10 means that any number I plugged into y, I would get equals on both sides. So any number would work. So that means it's an identity, okay? So it's all numbers. All right. And then we have this type. So again, we distribute. 2 times 2s is 4s. 2 times 2 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Then we bring the rest of everything down. And then we take a look and we have this and we have this. What are those? That's right. Those are like terms. So 4s minus 9s would be negative 5s. Then we go ahead and we add 5s to both sides. And we have negative 5s plus 5s, which would give me a negative 14. And on the right side of the equal sign, we have negative 5s plus 5s, which would give me 6. Well, negative 14 does not equal 6. So no matter what I put into s, I'm going to get false. There's nothing that will work that will solve this problem. So this is called a no solution, or again, you could put the 0 with the null symbol in, okay? All right, let's look at two equations real quick. So to solve this problem, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to distribute. So 2 times x is 2x, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, equals 4 plus 2x. I would subtract 2x from both sides. 2x minus 2x is 0, so that's negative 2. 2x minus 2x is 0, so that's 4. Well, negative 2 does not equal 4. So that is no solution, or I could just put that, okay? Which means null. Then on this one, we distribute. Negative 2 times x would be negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 1 would be a positive 2. And that would equal 2 minus 2x. Well, then I'm going to add 2x to both sides. And 2x minus 2x, or negative 2x plus 2x, is 0. So that's going to leave me with 2 equals 2. Well, 2 does equal 2. So this is an identity. Or I could put all real numbers. Okay? And that's it. If you got any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a great day.